Hi, everyone, and welcome to my channel, A Magical Life with Ayla. Today, we are going to discuss the energy and vibration of divine life purpose. So let's get going. So, I've been away for a while, several months, unpacking my life, doing some personal stuff, getting my life in order, and that is all under control now. It got everything just the way I wanted. So I will be back on regular videos from here on out. My days off with my day job will be changing, so I'm going to dedicate that time to getting my videos made and getting them edited and posted. So you can look forward to that. So today we're going to talk about the energy and vibration of divine life purpose. Not everybody calls it that. You can call it life purpose. You can call it your life's work. At any rate, it seems like so many of us come here and that is the number one thing on our mind is our divine life purpose. So what is this divine life purpose or this life purpose or your life work? Now, there's some misconceptions about this, that you come into this life and you're going to do this great big grand thing, a very public thing, a very loud thing, and that's not always the case. You know, with your life work, with your life's purpose, it can be a quiet thing. I know lots of incredible people who have more than fulfilled their life purpose by working behind the scenes, being the undercurrent of whatever is happening. And this is a very powerful position in life. And this is not to minimize the people who come here and they do grand, great big things. But a life purpose can be as simple as being a good friend or being a good parent, being good to other human beings. Sometimes we just have a life that on the outside may seem rather mundane, but actually on the inside is quite powerful. So I've made some notes today. I wanted to start with an anecdote about what I believe to be my life purpose. So back in the late 90s, I started having this feeling. Well, you all know my story of mental illness and my recovery and healing from that. After I became well, it was like up until that point, my number one goal was to get well. You know, I could look around at other 30-something women, such as myself, and I knew that they felt way better than I did. And I wanted to feel good. I wanted to have energy. I wanted to have a clear perspective. I wanted to have all of what I felt was normal. And so when I was in that period of my life, my number one goal was to get well. After I got well, however, the goal kind of changed. And I can't say that it changed consciously. There was something psycho-spiritual or unconscious that was going on inside of me. I started having this feeling, very involuntarily, started having this feeling like I was supposed to do something. I didn't know what. I couldn't even imagine. I mean, at that point in my life, I was happy just to be well. My healing was so intense. And it just really rocked my world. And I was very content being in that healed, well place and learning to live my life as a healed person. So I really wasn't looking for anything else. But after a little bit of time, I would say within a year of receiving my healing, I started having this weird kind of, I want to say creepy little feeling, but not creepy in a bad way. Creepy little feeling that there was something I was supposed to be doing. And I had no idea. I had no idea what that was. I couldn't even imagine anything else that I needed to be doing. So but I sat with it. I really sat with it, and it was like, okay, I figured in time I would figure it out, or it would become apparent to me. My spiritual relationship with the universe was really developing at that time. And part of my healing came about because I started, well, all of my healing came about because I started meditating. And from the moment I started meditating, I felt unified with source energy, with the divine one. I felt this closeness that I had never felt before, and my psycho-spiritual healing. So that was a lot. And so I just sat with that feeling. I sat with that feeling like I'm supposed to do something. There's something, and maybe not a grand thing. I didn't know. I couldn't imagine at that point. So I just kind of sat with it, and so I got healing. I got healed on July 8th, 1998, and I sat with that feeling until January 1st of 2001. And it was at that point, and I've talked about this story before, it was at that point that I realized I needed to face my past and what I perceived was a lineage, because my mother had told me that there was a lineage, whether there was any truth in that or not. But I needed to explore that I was a generational witch. So I went into studying that because I had a lot of misconceptions about what a witch was. Witches are healers. They're the ancient healers and the midwives, and they got a bad rap. They got a bad rap because they didn't fall into line with the early church. So if you're curious about that path, go and study it. I mean, it's amazing. It's beautiful. And so in 2001, I came onto this path, and that feeling of, oh, I'm supposed to do something, felt a little bit better. It was like, okay, well, that's part of it. That's part of it. I'd spent my whole life chasing God. And I use that phrase, chasing God, and you God chasers, there's a lot of you out there, and you know what I mean. And it wasn't until I came into the craft that I realized, oh, this is part of my puzzle. This is part of my puzzle of what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. And so within months of being coming onto this path, a little group of young women, I was in college at the time, a little group of young women formed around me, and we all started studying and spending time together. And that was amazing. That made me feel like I was pretty close to doing what I was supposed to be doing. But it still felt like there was a little bit more. In 2006, we got our shop, declared nonprofit. We received our nonprofit status with the government, and declared ourselves a church. And we came out very big publicly. Now, I had been running from 2001 to 2006. I had been always had a little group of people that was around me, that we were studying and learning and practicing the pagan holidays together and stuff like that. Um, so that was very cool. But in 2006, we kind of came out really big. We got our shop in Ashland, and for 4 years, we got a website, which we had never had. We were on social media, which we had never had. And then we got our shop, and the shop allowed us this large public area to hold rituals. Um, Holding rituals in nice weather is easy, but, what do you do when it's snowing outside? And so we had this large indoor area that became like our sanctuary. And from the moment we came out in public, got our shop, got our large public space, I felt like that was it. That was what I was supposed to be doing. And I felt very satisfied. We had the shop for 4 years, and then we closed the shop and we moved back to Medford. And I was holding my breath because I was like, the shop was a very, very small part of Rowan Tree Pagan Ministries. The ministry was huge. We were averaging 35 to 40 attendees at each ritual there for a while, and we had lots of programs. We had magic school. We did the full moons and the holiday celebrations, and we had workshops, and it was amazing what we were doing, and I felt really, really fulfilled. It was like, okay, this was what I was born to do. So we did that, and then when we moved back to Medford, the ministry part of it didn't even miss a beat. Our very first holiday celebration at Bear Creek Park in Medford, Oregon, after we closed the shop and moved back to Medford, there was 40 people there. And so it was like we just kind of picked up where we left off. And that was amazing for me. I still had that feeling of fulfillment. And so I helped to run the ministry until 2014. And then I took a little 2.5 year break. And then I came back and resumed my duties. And then COVID came. And there was this dwindling in attendance because of COVID, and people were afraid to gather. We were told we couldn't gather, yada yada yada. And so when that all ended, it was sort of like the door slammed on the Rowan Tree. It slammed shut, and I could feel it. And all of the people, all of those years that had been helping me run the Rowan Tree, could feel it too. Now, I had a particular issue with this because I reverted back to that feeling. Now, not consciously, mind you. I was perfectly happy. I had done my job with the Rowan Tree for 20 years. I had worked and done work with the Rowan Tree, and I was good with that. I felt like that was my life purpose. That was the big thing I came here to do. But as soon as the Rowan Tree closed, I had this strange feeling again, this strange little creepy feeling that there's that feeling again, like I'm supposed to do something. And I was thinking to myself, something else? I mean, I just spent the last 20 years of my life serving the pagan community in Southern Oregon by means of the Rowan Tree. Now, I have a message, and you've probably picked up on what the message is from looking at these videos. God is source energy, vibrational source energy. It is the author, originator, and creator of everything that exists. But it made those things, everything that exists, out of its own energy, which makes you, which makes me, which makes all of us, which makes everything that exists on this three-dimensional plane an aspect of source energy. Now, what does that mean? An aspect of source energy. So what that means is you are not the end all to be all. You are not everything there is to source energy. Neither am I. We are an aspect of that. And so I like to use the analogy of a cloud. You know, a cloud is this gaseous form of hydrogen and oxygen and other stuff mixed together. At some point, the hydrogens and the oxygens begin to stick together in a combination of two hydrogens and one oxygen, right? And those H2O molecules begin to stick together with other H2O molecules. They get heavy enough, they drop to Earth, right? Okay, so the raindrop basically is an aspect of the cloud, right? Made out of the same stuff, just a different form. That's what we are, made out of the same stuff, just a different form. Okay, now if you can get your head wrapped around this, maybe you already have from watching my other videos, you understand several things. Number one, you are ultimately responsible for your life. Number two, you are source energy. You are body, mind, and soul. And number three, you can do whatever you want to do with your life. Now, I had a friend tell me, like, I'm not going to tell my daughter that. You know, she can't do whatever she wants to do with her life. She can't go and be a supermodel. She's too short. Okay, all right. Let's get a perspective here. You have to get in touch with what it is you want to do. If you're a little short lady, you're probably not going to want to be a supermodel. That's the first thing. The second thing is, isn't there a market for short supermodels? You know, there's a sweet little lady who has, her name's Madeline. She has Down syndrome. And she's a model. She is a runway model. And I love watching the videos about her because she's incredible. So it's like, that's part of it. And then the other part of what it is you came here to do is, and being unrealistic, like my friend said, of wanting to do something that you're really not suited to do. Listen to your heart. Listen to your heart. Your heart is going to tell you what it is you're suited to do. So let me finish my little anecdote here. So the door slammed shut on the Rowan tree, and for 2 years, I sat still. I sat with that feeling of, I'm supposed to do something else. Something else. I'm supposed to do something else. What is it? And I just kept sitting with it. And somebody said to me, and I don't remember, one of my friends said to me, or maybe it was my son, you need a website. Why? Why do I need? I don't have a vehicle for my message anymore. I used first year magic school as a vehicle for my message, for the message of you are energy and that energy is God. That was my vehicle. That was what I used. And that's gone now. And I wasn't sad about that. I mean, the Rowan tree had its run. When it closed, it was like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense. But what am I going to use now as my vehicle? And somebody said to me, you need a website. And I thought, okay, I'll play around with that. I don't know where that's going. I have no idea. But I'll play around with it. So I got a website and I started playing around with it. And my website has had many, many, many incarnations. It changes all the time. But the reason it's been changing is because I have been getting clearer and clearer and clearer about what my divine life purpose is now. I'm not really big on anything being the Ayla show. I'm a team player. I like to be in a team. This is why the Rowan tree was always so great for me, because we had a board of directors. Those directors was the council of elders or ministers. They were people who were not just sitting on the board, but they were also helping run the Rowan tree. They ran rituals. They were doing celebrations. They would teach workshops. Many of them were involved in teaching magic school, and that felt good to me to be a part of a team. And so all of a sudden on my website, I'm the Ayla Show. I'm all by myself, and I'm talking about what I do. I set up my magic school because I've always taught magic school. I set up a place where people could purchase rituals because that's part of what I do. I do rituals. And I also am a healer. For the entire time I served the Rowan Tree, I did healing. We did healing as a group. And sometime back during that time, I became a Reiki master, and I got my Reiki attunements from my teacher, Swami Tai. And so all of that's on there. And I wrote a couple books, writing some more books, have those books on there. And all of a sudden, it was kind of like, oh, this is going to be my divine life purpose. On October 7th, which was about, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I turned 60. Thank you. Thank you for the happy birthdays. I never really cared much about parties and presents and stuff like that, especially after my first grandchild was born. It was like, my attitude was like, what are we going to do for this baby? We got to have a birthday party. That was my focus. But this birthday was really, really intense for me because it's 60. 60. I was born in 1963. I am 60 years old. That just blew my hair back. My mother died really young. And when I hit that age, she died when she was 27. And when I hit that age, I thought, wow, 27 is not very old. And every year after that, I've been like, wow, I get one more year. I had another year. That's so awesome. Now I'm 60. Now, the reason I'm talking about being 60 is because with this new divine life purpose, my website, my books, helping people heal, running rituals for people, teaching magic school, I have continued on with my purpose, with my divine life purpose. And this incarnation, because it's basically the same thing, except I'm kind of doing it on my own now, this incarnation of my life's work can carry me into my old age. I get to still do the things I love. I get to still help people with the things that they need help with. I get to write my books, and I can do that while I'm getting older. So that is kind of, that it sounds like a lot. It sounds really big, but it came from a place of interest for me, of passion. Spirituality has always been my passion, always. And then when I came into the craft in 2001, the whole thing just ignited into a wildfire. So I've got to do this. So that's the story. That's my story of my divine life work. Now, the other point that I want to make is that we oftentimes mistake our job for our work. And if you came here and you took a bunch of education and you became a doctor or a psychotherapist or something like that, and you feel like that's your calling in life, then it is. But if you didn't do those things and you're working a day job, such as myself, but you still feel like there's something you're supposed to do. At one point in life, many of us start feeling like, well, I'm old enough now. I don't want to go to school. I don't want to go back to school. I am old enough. I do not want to do that again. And if you feel that way, but you still have that feeling like there's something you're supposed to be doing, then there is. I mean, that feeling is an urging from your spirit, and it's very, very important. So you have to pay attention to those things, but you have to also understand that your divine life purpose may not pay you. It may not support your life. You may have to get a job to support your life. Those two are not mutually exclusive. Okay? And it's it's hard sometimes because many times we don't understand that. We think that I have to choose a profession that is that's my divine life purpose, my driving force. And you might, but you might not. And if you don't, that's okay too, because that's not your purpose. Something else is your purpose. Okay, so how do you get to the bottom of this? How do you get to the bottom of what is your divine life purpose? Sometimes you don't even know. I'm asking the teenagers in my life, okay, so what's the plan? And they're like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And another anecdote that I have for this is I remember working with this lady. I was working at the hospital, and this one lady was she was one of the housekeepers, and her daughter was getting ready to go off to college, and they were all excited, of course, And so one day her daughter was standing there talking to her mom in one of the hallways, and I stopped and I was chatting with them. And so I asked the daughter, I said, what are you going to do? What are you going to study in school? And she said, oh, I'm going to get a degree in English. Excuse me. I'm going to get a degree in English and a degree in ASL, American Sign Language. And I was like, really? How cool is that? How did you arrive at ASL? She said, I signed up for this summer camp thing working with deaf children. And I learned a bunch of ASL so that I could work with, they put you through this training thing so that when you start summer camp with them, you can communicate with them. She said, I just fell in love with it. And I said, so up until that point, you had no idea? And she was like, no, I had no idea that I was going to love this so much. And teaching, I can be a teacher. I can be a teacher for deaf people. And she just kind of stumbled upon it, And I really think that that's how a lot of us find our divine life purpose, is we just accidentally, we get exposed to something and we go, oh, wow, that was amazing. I want to know more about it. And it turns into something for you. My thing happened to be a passion. Lots of us have passions. Maybe you paint pictures. It's really hard in our society today to make a living as a painter of beautiful fine art. You may have to have a day job for a while until you sell a few paintings. I saw a friend the other day, and she's an artist, and she said, yeah, you remember that painting I was telling you about? And I was like, yeah, I remember that. She said, I sold that for $3,000. But it's taken her a while. She's just now getting her art out there, got a website, got her art up on it. So, in order to find your divine life purpose, it may be something that's in you. It may be something you feel passionate about. It may be something you're not even aware of, and you have to just, this is what we do when we come here. We are exposed to and we look at a lot of different stuff. And that will kindle desire inside of us and passion to learn something. So that's such a nonsense answer to how do we get to the bottom of what our divine life purpose is. It's such nonsense, but it's kind of the truth. It's like you have to stumble upon it. You have to know that this exists. I mean, I knew before I came into the craft, before I came on this path, I knew that I wanted to do something with spirituality. But before coming onto this path, I had no idea. And the two just kind of came together. Actually, I did have an idea. I was practicing Judaism at the time, and I thought I wanted to be a rabbi. And so everybody in my vicinity was gearing me up for that. And I'm glad that I figured it out before I went down that path. But had I gone down that path, it wouldn't have been a bad thing. I would have just later on had to have adjusted my divine life purpose. So one of the things that another point I want to make that kind of works against you finding your divine life purpose is fretting and being stressed out about it. So I know that feeling gets really intense, almost. Sometimes you can almost feel kind of panicky about it, like I've got to figure this out. And we have something in the third dimension we don't have in the other dimension, and that's aging. And so we all think that we have to figure this out before we get a certain age. I'm starting the next incarnation of my divine life purpose at 60. You don't have to worry about the clock. You don't have to worry about getting too old. I know ballerinas who have felt they were too old to dance professionally, perhaps. They open schools. That's another incarnation of their passion. So think about it that way. It's like if you're older now and you always wanted to do this thing, can you modify that slightly? So age really is not an issue when we're talking about divine life purpose. But the stress and the fretting about not being in touch with your purpose, feeling you're too old for your purpose, feeling like you don't have the resources to pursue that purpose, this stress will completely derail you. It really will. It so works against you. The energy. Well, first of all, let me just be really blunt about this. Stress makes us sick. Okay? And if you're stressing and fretting about everything, that's going to bring about illness for you. I am convinced that, if you walk into Walmart, within 15 minutes of being in Walmart, you have been exposed to so many different viruses and germs and things that could turn into illnesses. But we don't get sick every time we go to Walmart. Why is that? And I really think it has to do with stress. I think stress is a catalyst that we add to those things to cause that eruption. So I really think that being stressed out about trying to figure out your divine life purpose is counterintuitive. It's counterproductive. It's not going to help you. It's not going to help you figure that out. The only thing that's going to help you, first of all, just accept that your life has perfect purpose in and of itself. Your existence on this planet in and of itself has purpose. Remember the Christmas story with James Stewart? And Clarence the angel came. He was on the bridge and he said, I wish I'd never been born. And Clarence showed up and showed him how his non-existent life affected all of the people around him and how he had had this massive positive influence and effect on these people's lives. Just by being here, you are fulfilling your purpose. So take a break and take a breath and give yourself a break about this. If there's more, if you still have that feeling like there's more you're supposed to be doing, really, all you can do is sit with that feeling. Talk to the angels about it. Meditate about it. Go take a class in this or a class in that, because you're exposing, and that may not be your purpose, but you're exposing yourself to different ideas. So don't fret about it. If I could just say one thing, it's like that's not helpful. And so the bottom line here, the last point that I want to make, the bottom line here, when you're looking at the energy and the vibration of your purpose in life, what you really got to ask yourself is, what do I bring to the table? That feeling, let me tell you the original place of that feeling, the place of origin for that feeling. We all come here wanting to serve humanity. Now, some of us don't because we get derailed, we get distracted along the way, or things didn't turn out the way we thought they were. Drugs and alcohol are a big derailer. Poverty is a derailer. It's like having to have a job, being distracted with that job, and not getting to give your divine life purpose its full attention. All of those things need negotiation. And so really the last question, the bottom line, when the pot boils dry, what you need to ask yourself is, how am I serving humanity? What can I do? Even on a smaller level, on a more down-to-earth level, on not a big and loud level, what can I do to serve humanity? And that is really the original question. That's the original place where that feeling comes out of. I want to do something. I'm supposed to do something. That feeling of wanting to do is the feeling of service to humanity. So if you can get quiet, if you can meditate, if you can summon the angels, and you may have to do this. One of the things I've noticed with spiritual changes is that we have to go after it over a period of time. It's not just going to happen overnight. You may have to think about this for upwards towards a year. But at the end of that year, you're going to be closer to understanding what your divine life purpose really is. And you want that. You want to get in touch with that. If you are content in your life, your divine life purpose is your family. You have big family dinners, you have big holidays, and all the family comes over, and maybe you're raising a couple of kids, and that you feel like that's your divine life purpose, then it is. Okay? So really what I want to say about this, you can't mess it up. Okay? We think, oh, I come here, I've got this life, I've got to figure this out right now, and I got to do it. You cannot mess it up. You just can't. Okay? As an aspect of God, which you are, and I'm going to start adding that language in more as we go along, because I really want you guys to wrap your head around this idea that you are made out of the same energy as God. You have the same rights and privileges. God made us that way. You are not being disrespectful. God made us that way. Like when you have a baby, it's like, do you want that baby to stay tiny forever? Do you want that baby to be dependent on you and need you to feed it and need you to move it around the house? You don't. You don't. You want that baby to learn how to crawl, and you want that baby to learn how to walk. Pretty soon, that baby's going to be 5 years old, and it's going to start asking questions. Then it's going to be 15 years old. Then it's going to start thinking for itself. This is what you want. That's what God wants for us. God made us to pull away slightly and to think for ourselves and become an aspect of it in our divine right to create a magical life, to create a beautiful painting, to create a beautiful website that serves humanity. So this is really the crux of the question. What am I supposed to be doing? Don't ask it that way. Ask it this way. How do I serve humanity? Okay? So that's really all I have to say today on this topic. I hope this was helpful. I made notes so that I wouldn't talk in circles as I do. And what else I want to say is I have 2 books in print. I am starting a new channel. I don't have any videos up yet. The new channel is called Magical Life Publications. And I'm going to talk about my books, and I'm going to talk about projects, and I'm going to talk about writing, and I'm going to talk about being an author, because there's a difference in a writer and an author. I'm going to talk about everything to do with being a writer and writing books. And so if you love to read, if you would like to know the inside scoop of a writer's mind, because it gets kind of crazy in here sometimes, tune in for that. I will be, as soon as I get a video done, I'm going to do that today. I'm going to get it on my introductory video. And I'll post a link in the comments for that YouTube channel. The website is amagicallifewithayla.com, and I've been really messing around with it, and the front's kind of cool now. I put some pictures up and stuff like that. So go and check that out. And I'm on Facebook, Ayla Hallel, AYLAHHALLEL. And yeah, I am living my bliss here, getting to do all of my projects and having a vehicle for my message. The message is a burning passion for me, because I really think that if I can help people understand who they really are, that we can heal the world. And I have a friend who struggles with her purpose, and she has said to me several times, well, I don't have a message. No, not the message I have. She has decided that she holds space. Oh my gosh, that is so important. So important. I can't even begin to tell her how important that is. Now that she's decided that she's a space holder, she's got to define that. She has to create that space for people and hold that space for people. And she has to decide what that looks like. So this topic is enormous, and it's more than I can cover in 30 minutes. Please check out my website. Please check out my other channel. And I'll see you guys next week. We're going to be discussing divine perspective. Does that sound